For a motorsports instrumentation project, my partner and I built a car data logger with the components you see here. This is a Raspberry Pi with an attached sense hat, an SD card. The sense hat has a trigger, XYZ accelerometers, LEDs, and a couple more components. We attached these components, which this is a GPS, to the Raspberry Pi, and this is an OBD cable link which fixes into the Raspberry Pi here and into an OBD port in your car, and this here is just simply a power source. We attached these components, which this is a GPS, to the Raspberry Pi, and this is an OBD cable link which fixes into the Raspberry Pi here and into an OBD port in your car, and this here is just simply a power source. For a motorsports instrumentation project, my partner and I built a car data logger with the components you see here. This is a Raspberry Pi with an attached sense hat, an SD card. The sense hat has a trigger, XYZ accelerometers, LEDs, and a couple more components. We attached these components, which this is a GPS, to the Raspberry Pi, and this is an OBD cable link which fixes into the Raspberry Pi here and into an OBD port in your car, and this here is just simply a power source. To get the Raspberry Pi correctly working, we first had to download Noobs, a operating system which contains Raspbian, I think is how you say it. And once we did that, we were instructed here by a professor as to how to set up our Raspberry Pi with these instructions here. It's kind of lengthy. Details of that would be in the bottom of the page. And here are some further instructions for how to hook it up to your OBD link in your car. This should also be in the bottom of the page as well. Now that the Noobs file is copied onto the SD card, we insert the SD card here in the bottom of the Raspberry Pi, hook up the GPS to the USB port, and we'll hook up the OBD cable here, even though it's not going to read anything since it is not hooked up to the car. And lastly, we will hook up the power source. And it should light up. Yep. Now that the Pi has booted itself, we're going to connect it using remote desktop connection. And here's the Pi's home screen. We'll open up the terminal, and this is where we typed in all of our code to read the data logger. With this Pi has already been set up with the instructions that were given to us by the professor as far as the code and detection of the GPS and OBD link sensor. And now we're going to sample the GPS. Type in the code. That's searching for the GPS. And it's found it, and now the GPS is in idle mode. And okay, now the GPS is in idle mode, and to log data, all you have to do is push this trigger up, and LED flashes, and you can go over here and see that it's logging. It even says logging. The GPS, you just pull the same trigger the opposite direction, and it stops, and it says disengaged, logging disabled. The data we just logged will automatically get saved onto the file manager here. And to find the data, you go to PYOBD-PI, go to log, and here it is. The data logger was set up. We went to Mooresville drag strip and ran it and tested the data logger. And here are a couple of the results that we had. We took the raw data from the Raspberry Pi and uploaded it to Atlas, and we view the data here in the form of a bar graph, a waveform chart, and just some numeric values. As you can see here, the GPS logged here are the max speed traveled was 63.9 miles per hour, and I actually have the ticket from the strip. And in the 8th mile, the maximum was recorded at 63.78, just 0.2 seconds slower than the miles per hour recorded here. That's due to the fact that I didn't stop the GPS logging once we had crossed the finish line. A couple more parameters here is the X acceleration, the Y acceleration, Z acceleration, and we actually got the latitude, longitude, and altitude of the drag strip. And just to verify these results, we have found the latitude, longitude, and altitude of the town, Mooresville. And as you can see here, the latitude here and here are identical, and the longitude is as well, is negative 80.81, and here's negative 80.73. This was taken at the drag strip, and this is just the town as a whole over here. And the elevation is estimated at 276.6 meters on this website, and over here we got slightly less at 244.60 meters.